Okay, we're live. Welcome to the Last Jedi podcast. And yes, that is the second time I said that joke. Um, but yeah, we're actually talking about Rainbow Six Siege, and the information for that game is the release date is December 1st, 2015. Developed by Ubisoft Montreal, published by Ubisoft. Cost is a bit complicated. There's a bunch of versions of this game that we will go into more detail on after I read this out. So the base game is $40, but there is also a starter edition that is $15. There's a year two gold edition, which is $70, and a complete edition, which is $90. And over the course of the Steam Winter Sale, it is 40% off across the board. And yeah, let's go through and introduce ourselves. Let's mention which version of the game we bought, and just kind of our initial thoughts. What?
Nothing, you got it.
All right. So I guess I'll just go first. I'm Zach. If you don't, no, not even gonna finish that thought. Not worth it. Originally I bought the base game. Much later on, I bought the year two gold edition. And actually, no, I didn't. Fuck. I already fucked it up. I did not buy the year two gold edition. I bought the year two the year two pass, which is different than the year two gold edition. This is fucking complicated. And basically the different versions affect how many characters you start with and kind of how the progression of the game pans out. But we'll go into that more. And also my initial thoughts of the game are that it's a very competitive game. It's a little bit difficult to get into. It definitely requires a certain degree of skill, a certain degree of like getting to know the maps. But if you put in the time and if you like shooters, this is definitely a very fun, unique shooter that I really like, and I've put a bunch of time into it.
All right.
That's done for me.
I'm Nick. I bought the standard edition, which I think was like about $40.
Yep, the base game.
Yeah, the base game. And I absolutely love this game. It's definitely my type of game. Back in the day, I played just a ton of Call of Duty hardcore search and destroy, and this game is pretty much exactly that, but amped up. And yeah, I fucking love it.
All right. And Mitch and Carly are sharing a phone because
connection issues and
yeah,
at their parents' place. Are you guys there?
Okay, so I'm Carly. I bought the base game. No, I don't know what the 750 version on sale.
That's
the starter edition.
And then the first time that I played it, within 10 minutes, I bought the Season 2 pass because it was still on sale on the winter sale for like another hour. And so I just figured that was a good deal because it was like $15, I think, instead of 30. So $22 in total.
Nice.
I kind of wish I'd bought that when it was on sale.
Yeah, it's definitely a good deal. And then, so my initial thoughts is that I think it's a very interesting concept for a PvP only game. There's a lot of strategy that goes into it, and a lot of like replayability and stuff. So I think for the money, it's definitely worth it. It's really fun with a lot of people. Like if you have a full team, it's a lot of fun. So it's a good friend group game.
And I'm Mitch. I also bought the starter edition when it was on sale, so I got it for like $7. And then just recently, I also bought the year 2 pass, so I have all the characters from year 2. I really enjoy this game. I have to agree with Nick saying I really enjoyed Hardcore Search and Destroy and the old Call of Duties, and that's what I used to play. And this definitely has a similar vibe to that. And I didn't even realize it till Nick just said that. I really like the. I think what I like most about this game is the fact that because there are so many different characters and every character plays slightly different, every time you play a game, it's going to be slightly different. And I don't know. I think it has a fun gameplay style that just allows for a lot of replayability.
Yeah, and something that I forgot to mention is I forgot to read the description for this game. So if everything we've been saying so far has been going over your head, that is my fault.
Way to go, Zach.
Yeah, just all strikes today. Yeah, this is Rainbow Six Siege. It is a online-only competitive shooter. The game puts heavy emphasis on environmental destruction and cooperation between players. Players assume control of an attacker or a defender in different gameplay modes, such as hostage rescuing and bomb defusing. The title has no campaign, but features a series of short missions that can be played solo. These missions have a loose narrative focusing on recruits going through training to prepare them for future encounters with the White Masks, a terrorist group that threatens the safety of the world. And if none of you knew that, it's because there is no story in this game. You are just... That's basically the story in this game. It's just you guys go out and fight each other.
I didn't even know it had that much story.
I didn't know that there was anything such as White Masks.
Yeah, I think they talk about it a little bit in like the initial trailers for this game. There's somebody being like, oh, these terrorists have like a dirty bomb, so we're bringing together all the best special forces from around the globe to go after these guys, and you don't have any like restrictions or like
that kind of
stuff.
fits into the game mode where you have the A and B bombs, which are supposed to be like dirty bombs.
Yeah. But that's essentially the story. And yeah, it's a competitive team-based tactical shooter where you have attackers and defenders, and the attackers have to assault an area or complete an objective, and the defenders have to stop them, and you go back and forth, and the first one to a certain number of wins. So it's a relatively simple game, but there's a lot of depth to it.
It's best of 3 in regular gameplay.
Yep.
Or sorry, not best of 3, best of 5.
Yeah. More if you're playing competitive. But we should talk about the different versions of the game a little bit more, and kind of talk a bit about the progression system. So a big part of the gameplay is that you have these heroes. I think they're actually called operatives. I call them heroes a shit ton because I played a ton of Dota 2 for a really long time. So if I call them heroes, they're actually called operators. But basically you have different groups of operators that you get with different versions of the game that they released at different points. So you have like the operators that come with the base game. You have the operators that were added with year 1. And you have the operators that were released with year 2. They have not released all the operators for year 2 yet.
Yeah, they're all out.
They're all out?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think they just recently finished that up
In December.
with the most recent update. So basically, you get different groups of operators based on which version of the game you got. If you buy the base game, you get the base game operators. If you buy the year one edition is not available anymore, actually. But the year two gold edition, I think, gets you all the base game characters and all the year two characters. The starter edition only gets you 2 characters and the ability to buy 2 more. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, the starter edition starts you off with enough of
RP.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Enough of the RP.
Renown.
Oh well, there's 2 currencies.
Whatever.
Yeah, you get some of one currency enough to buy up to 2 characters, or one of the year 1 or year 2 characters, or you get enough renown to buy 2 characters as well.
So that is a pretty limited number of characters, but from what I've heard, it's what?
It's the same way in the base game too.
Yeah.
So.
But from what I've seen, 4 characters is definitely enough to give you like an idea of how the game goes. And for just like a fraction of the base game, it's pretty good for people who would otherwise not play it. So I think it's a pretty interesting strategy that I think is a very savvy business move.
One thing I want to specify with the difference between the starter edition and the base game is, yes, you do both start with the ability to buy like 4 characters, but the starter edition, which is the cheaper one that me and Carly got, you earn renown, which is how you buy characters and skins and everything in game at a way slower rate than you do otherwise.
Wait, I thought your characters were just more expensive.
No, the prices are still exactly the same. We just earn renown way slower than you.
Are you sure?
Okay, so how much renown do you get roughly a game?
Like 100 to 200.
Or to 200?
I think that's about normal.
Yeah,
is it?
I get.
Well, how much do your characters cost?
The characters are cheaper in the standard edition.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, because the base characters are for you are only like 500 to 2,000, right?
Yep, it goes 500, 1,000, 1,500, then 2,000, based on their category and how many you own in that little category.
But that is just for the base game characters. For the year 1 and the year 2 characters, they cost a shit ton and are super difficult to unlock.
Yeah, and then so for this cost 12,500 renown. So
yes, it's the same.
Huge difference in price, but it's for all characters for the starter edition, not just like you don't get the base game characters at a cheap price.
Yeah. So there are 2 different kinds of currency. There's the currency that you earn for just playing games, completing missions, doing situations, which are basically like tutorials or practice mode. And there is the other currency that you pay to get, that you can spend money to get a certain amount of this currency. And yeah, pretty much character unlocking new characters is slowed down based on the versions of the game that you have. And it's I don't know, it's a pretty good progression system. It really encourages you to like actually buy stuff for like characters that you don't have. Like it's not very feasible to buy the base game and then as you play just unlock all the like year 1 heroes with just the renown that you gain from games. That's not very feasible. It would take you a very long time, but it is definitely feasible to like get a couple of characters that way.
Yeah, the year 1 and 2 characters are definitely like DLCs and pretty much ways to support the company that's still upgrading the game from 2 years from now.
Yeah,
My only
and
problem with the system, though, is that if you buy the starter edition, there's no way to upgrade your starter edition to the base edition. The only thing you can do is just rebuy the base edition. So then you end up spending about 50% more money if you buy the starter edition first. And I think it's really frustrating and sad that there's no way to upgrade to the base edition. So I'm pretty much screwed. So yes, I spent less money on the base edition, but instead of being able to pay the other half of the
To
base
upgrade,
edition
yeah.
or a slightly more to upgrade, the only way for me to more easily get all the original characters is to rebuy the base game. Which I
yeah,
think
and then
is
that
really
is a
dumb.
big downside of this.
But I think the way that it works for all the year 1 and year 2 characters, I think that works fine because it's applied to every single version of the game, unless you buy the year 2 version, which costs more because you're buying the DLC basically of all the new characters.
Yeah, and I think the way that this game is sold and just kind of how they've monetized it has definitely, because you can also buy these essentially like you buy currency, you can buy the different expansions. There's a lot of options, or you can just buy like the currency to get a couple of characters if you want. So there is a lot of variety for purchasing options, and I think that's a big part of like what's made this game have such a high amount of staying power and maintain such a like solid player base. Because when this game was originally coming out in 2015, there was a lot of people saying, "Oh, I really don't know about this. It's a $40 online only shooter. That this might go really bad." Like it did go very bad for Lawbreakers, if you've heard of that game. Um,
Well, was it because was the reason because it was $40 and only online, or was it really just like the start of it and like just had a bad launch?
it
I
did
think
have a bad launch because it launched the same time as Overwatch, so that just murdered it.
Yeah, pretty much all that came out around the same time as Overwatch got killed.
Yeah.
I heard it also like wasn't the most balanced, but like just needed a couple tweaks in certain areas. I don't know the specifics, but
Yeah, I don't know too many specifics about it either, but this game I think is definitely has a lot of staying power because pretty much they've as they've been releasing expansions, I think it's a very good decision on their part to just release the maps for free for everybody, because a big part of like having multiplayer only games go on for long periods of time, a big thing that splits the community is DLC map packs, because then it's like only the people with the DLC can play them, which splits up your community, makes people less likely to play. But this game just releases all the maps for free, and just unlocking new characters is the thing that's going to put you back for more money, or if you want to buy a lot more of the aesthetic items.
yeah, it's a much smarter idea to just have the characters locked away, and any of them can play on any map, but you need to unlock them. So you're not
I
really
totally agree with.
dividing the player base.
I've played games where I couldn't play with my friends and stuff because I didn't have the DLC, and so I just kind of like got left behind. I'm like, all right, well, I'm not gonna pay for that. Like,
Yeah, it was a big thing with Titanfall, because initially it was you had to pay for the map packs. Eventually, they made the map packs free, but that was much later, and the community for that game had died down a lot. And I think that was a big part of it. But yeah, do we have anything else to say about the different versions of the game, or do we want to like move on to more of the gameplay?
If you think you're going to like the game, don't buy the starter edition.
Yeah, if you think you're gonna like the game, don't get the starter edition. If you're not so sure about the game, or if you're kind of strapped for cash, definitely go with the starter edition.
All right, so gameplay. I'd say just right off the bat, it's very standard FPS like controls for if you play it on console or PC. But the difference is the maps and then the characters themselves.
Yeah, the characters add a ton, as well as like the gameplay of the environment, because the environment in this game is just very interesting with how it works with the gameplay, and kind of how the gameplay is set up.
We should probably start by talking about how each match starts on offense versus defense, because the offense versus defense makes a huge difference.
Yeah. And we should talk about like kind of the differences between the game modes. So like there are three game modes.
Oh.
Sorry, what?
Oh, nothing. You're good.
Oh yeah. There are three game modes: hostage rescue, zone control, and bomb defusal. So basically, hostage rescue is what it sounds like. The attackers are trying to rescue a hostage, and the defenders are trying to stop them. And if either team shoots the hostage, they lose. And basically, if the attackers grab the hostage and get out of the building, they win. And if basically any team that loses all their people loses, there's no respawn in this game. If just for the rounds, if you die during a round, you're done. Zone control is exactly what it sounds like. It's control a zone. If you're in the zone and the enemy team isn't, you capture the zone and you win if you're the attackers. If you're the defenders, you got to stop them. And bomb defusal is kind of like bomb defusal in Counter-Strike. You've got one person. If you're the attackers, you have one person who has the diffuser. There are two bomb locations right next to each other that the defenders have to protect, and you have to either kill the defenders or set the diffuser on one of the bombs. And after a short countdown, you win.
Yeah. As for attacking and defending, basically at the start of the game, one side will defend, one team will attack. The defenders have a small amount of time to basically set up these barricades. Each player gets 2 barricades, unless you're playing the recruit, gets 1. And you set these up to secure whatever area you're at. Basically, these barricades will make it impossible to get through unless the attackers are playing like a certain character that can blow through it. And they'll set up all those, and they'll set up additional things. It could be like barbed wire shields, send down armor packs or something. And meanwhile, while that happens, the attackers have these little remote control vehicles that are super low to the ground, and they infiltrate the building that the defenders are in, and they pretty much scout the area to find out where they are in the building.
Yeah, knowing the location of your opponents is a huge part of this game, because you die so quickly when you're shot.
Yeah.
So knowing the location of the enemy is vital.
I love that they do it this way and not you just know instantly where they are. Because there are definitely some games where you just don't know where they are. And you spend a good couple minutes just running around like, where are they?
Yeah, and that can make a huge difference, because some maps are very large, and if you can't find them and it gets down to like a minute left and you still don't know where they are, then the defense has a huge advantage.
Yeah.
Yep. So what's your guys' kind of opinion on the gameplay in general? Like,
it's amazing because it's a very camp heavy game and very slow paced. So a lot of people would be thrown off by that and like discouraged to play it maybe for that fact. Thinking like, oh, there's campers around corners and stuff. How could I ever play this? But the unique thing about Rainbow Six Siege is there are so many ways you can infiltrate a building through doors, windows, the ceiling, the floor. You can go through walls too. I've seen people who just shoot through a wall just to make a little peeking area as a defender and just shoot up a whole hallway of the attackers through this teeny little hole that they just shot through the wall with. And it makes it for a very versatile game, I say.
Yeah, the game heavily encourages camping if you are the defenders. But it also gives you a lot of tools with the attackers to like kind of smoke them out and take them out. And also like with defense, kind of camping in one location can kind of mess you up, especially if you're like in certain situations. This game is very situational based on like the characters you're using and the characters the other team is using, because certain characters like counter each other's abilities. And in that way, I would compare it to MOBAs, because it's like every game feels different because how you use your characters and how you counter the enemy team it's a very tactical kind of game.
Yeah, I really like that it brings in a lot of strategy, because like you can have certain people where it's like, oh shit, that one person is playing, so we need to change up and start using mute now instead, and it like makes you react more to other teams and like the way they're playing, and you can't just always use the exact same strategy, because it's not always going to work, because maybe this time they're going to have a fuse and they're going to blow up in your barricaded wall, or next time something else is going to happen.
Or you're on hostage and you can't use fuse, or you shouldn't.
Or you are just an asshole and you decide to play fuse on hostage.
I think this one thing that we really like about the game, which is that there's tons of different characters, which has a lot of variety, is also what makes it really hard to talk about. Because with talking about what we like about the game, a lot of what we like is each of us like individual characters a lot, and then by us trying to explain each character, you have to go into in a lot of depth with what makes every character so unique. And not that I'm going to tell us all to do that, but like it's part of what makes it hard to talk about, in that every
Take forever, and we haven't played everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think even like none of us own all of the year one heroes,
or all of the base heroes.
Yeah.
I will say this though, like about the differences of characters. So on defense, I fucking love playing the medic, because I love healing people. I love being the support, and I love the P90, which he has that gun. But a couple days ago, I just bought Kavira. I think I'm pronouncing it right.
Kavira?
Kavira, yeah, the chick who's super stealthy. So instead of just like staying in a corner at the objective as medic, with this character, I sneak around and I'm actually on the hunt for the attackers, and I'm away from the objective, and that just changes up like 180 completely of how the game is played for me on defense. And that's just an example of one character difference.
Yeah, I like how like there's such a difference in some characters' abilities. Like some of them require a huge amount of skill to like effectively use their abilities, and some of them are insanely easy to use. Like there's a difference between Rook, who's literally just you drop a bag on the floor and everybody grabs some armor, so you are kind of just
one and done.
Yeah, you kind of just have a little bonus for everybody for the like rest of the round. And then you have a character that's like Kavera, whose ability requires you to be like a very good aggressive defender, which is definitely not something that's easy to do.
And then there's characters where, like, in some maps it's good to have, like, Mira. In some maps, like, she's awesome to have and everything, because then you can, like, place the windows and everything like that. But then there's other maps where it's just, like, there's one wall that you can put the window in, and then it's, like, facing to another wall. So it's, like, there's no point in having her.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to remember which maps to use her on and stuff.
And yeah, and also, like we mentioned before, like there are certain characters that you'd never want to use in certain game modes. Like you'd never want to use Fuse, a character that like fires bombs into a room. You'd never want to use that on the hostage round because you will end up killing the hostage and losing the round for your team.
Yeah. It's the worst.
Yep.
Yeah, all this, like, the fact that it changes up so much between the maps and the characters is really nice, and I like that some characters even like are really reliant on you knowing the map. Like Mute is an example. Like you can't really play Mute effective unless you know where the entrances are to the room you just spawned in.
Same with like Valkyrie.
Yeah, and like
puts
so I think
more cameras down.
This
yeah, if you're cameras are a big part of this game. Like knowing the location of characters. If you're the defenders, you have like certain cameras on each map that are always there, always in the same location. That are just stationary cameras, but the attackers can use their little drone guys as cameras to.
Hey, is Carly's car outside?
To what, Zach?
Oh yeah, you can just use them as cameras.
Yeah. Cameras. Jeez, I'm still not used to like switching it enough. I do not use them enough. I can definitely say that.
Yeah.
One mechanic that I think is really interesting is for the defenders is when you go outside of the building, where it just starts saying like you'll be shown to the enemy team in 3 seconds. They give you a very short amount of time too.
Yeah.
Like, when that happens, then just a giant red ass arrow is above your head that all the enemy can see.
Yeah, so it actually like prevents you from like going and spawn camping the enemy team. Although one strategy that was certainly not there when I originally started playing is there was not the kind of trend of finding out where the enemy spawns really quickly and firing at them from the building, because that is definitely a strategy now. It's kind of difficult to do, but if you're able to do it effectively, you can wreck house with it.
That's like the most annoying strategy when that happens. Someone like just shoots out a window, they know where you are right away, and just start gunning you down before you can even see where they're coming from.
Yeah,
and, like,
definitely.
No cover on the outside in a lot of the areas. So as soon as you come up, like wherever you spawn, like you're like, oh shoot, I'm dead already, and it just started.
I haven't run into that problem yet.
I've only had it happen a few times, but it's very noticeable when it happens.
But what I wanted to say, for the defenders, like going outside, is it's definitely like an encouragement to like stay inside, but you can also use it as a strategy, because like 2 or 3 days ago, I was playing with my brother, and there's like one more person left, and I kind of knew where he was, so I jumped outside, and then I knew he was on the roof, and I could easily hear him with my headphones. And I'm just like looking at the roof, and then it says, "Oh, I'm right here, big arrow." That guy immediately like turned around, just like sprinted to the edge of the roof, thinking he would easily get easy kill. I was right there and ready, and just popped an easy headshot on him. So it's an interesting mechanic that you can really fool people with as well.
I'm really glad that you reminded me of this. A huge part of the gameplay is sound in this game.
Good headphones is like essential.
Yeah. Sound is very important because you can hear enemies walking around. which can give you an indication of where they are. There's a lot of different sounds that are associated with different characters' abilities, like that kind of thumping sound of Fuse firing the hockey pucks into a room that are going to explode. So you're like, oh, we need to get the fuck out of here right now. Or like the sound of somebody using a shield. And it's just used very effectively. Like, you essentially can't play this game without headphones or some kind of sound.
Yeah, I think it's funny when when we have a full team, we're all playing as a group, and like we're on defense especially. Suddenly, the game will start. We've talked about our setup, and then everyone just goes quiet, and it's just like no one in the party is talking because we're all just listening for where are they coming from.
Yeah,
Check
just
cameras.
Hearing for that pin drop.
Yeah.
But I love it when games use sound to that effect to like really be able to know where your enemy is coming from. And they use sound design very well. Like, it's pretty easy to know if they're below you on the other side of the wall, or maybe even way down the hallway or something.
Or if they're like outside rappelling,
Yeah.
and you can like hear their footsteps on the wall.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Even something as simple as like hearing the kind of weapon they're using. So like you can tell, are they playing like glass or something?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be right back real quick.
All right. I think this discussion might actually be kind of short because it's really not that complicated of a game. The main thing that makes it complicated is the like big variety of characters.
And it's kind of hard to talk about all the variety in the characters.
Yeah, because we haven't played all the characters, and going through the different abilities of every single hero would just take fucking forever.
I think the biggest thing about this game is like we all like this game, and so we don't really have any complaints. Well, I don't think we have that big of complaints about it. But it's just not a game for everyone. Like, Alec doesn't like this game. Just
Yeah.
not his.
Kyler also isn't a huge fan of this game. It's definitely, if you don't like shooters, especially shooters where you die extremely quickly, like it's not a Halo. It's not even really a Call of Duty, because Call of Duty is like really fast paced. This game is very meticulous, very slow paced, and you die extremely quickly.
Because I like more of a strategic type of planning out stuff, you know?
Yeah. And you absolutely can just turn the tide super quickly and get a bunch of kills and just carry your team in this, but so it rewards skill quite a bit, but it also rewards teamwork a lot. And
Yeah.
I think that's something that I really like about this game.
Because like the most important thing with the ranking is like your points, and there's other ways to get points besides just kills.
Yeah, like just on defense, like just building a lot of defensive structures and just being a good help to your team. Maybe not.
Yeah, effectively using your abilities.
Yeah, and using your abilities effectively can get you a lot of points. So you could be, if your team sucks and you do a lot of good abilities, you could be at the top of the scoreboard with no kills. Highly unlikely, but it's possible.
Yeah,
or if you are getting a few kills, maybe one or two, but you also still did very effective with all of your abilities, you could still be top of the game even though you don't have all the kills.
Another thing that I like is on defense. You can use the cameras and stuff, so once you die, you can still help your team out.
That is a big part of it.
Like, still there. Because like it's just nice being able to like be a part of the game even though you're dead. Yeah,
that's it's a really good thing to have that, especially if you have a game where that doesn't have respawning.
Yeah, and you can die really fast.
Yeah, like you can revive down teammates, but if you actually die, then you're out for the rest of the round.
I'm back now.
Yeah, this
We
is
don't need kind.
it's a very well designed game.
I don't really have much else to talk about gameplay.
Yeah, we said that like there, it's a surprisingly simple game with like a lot of replayability based on the characters, but we're just not going to go into all of them because fuck that.
The game's like, if you played an FPS, you could pick this up after like 2 games. Like, I didn't even know there was a tutorial. I thought there was just a video stuff, like the 2-minute videos, and then I just jumped into a multiplayer game right away. And then after 2 rounds, and I'm like, okay, I get this game.
Yeah, I was surprised. Like you and you all started doing very well very quickly, a lot better than me, because I have not played a ton of shooters, but yeah.
All right, so what's our next subject?
Our next subject is that Black Mirror is coming out tomorrow, and everyone should be hyped. Black Mirror season 3, motherfuckers. I guess I mean we kind of already talked about the reasons for the long-term success of this game is well because they don't split their community up. They've got a lot of options for kind of progressing in the game.
It
doesn't feel pay to win.
Okay, yeah. I do want to ask this though, because this is an interesting question. So Ubisoft made this game, and it kind of like flopped in the beginning, but they supported it and made it better, and then now they have a huge following. However, For Honor is also made by Ubisoft. I don't think it's made by Montreal, but still, it's Ubisoft. How come they didn't like support that fucking game?
Are they done supporting that game? Is it just dead?
It's so dead.
Maybe
I don't know if they stopped supporting it, but like they didn't do shit for the longest time everybody was asking them to do.
Well, maybe it'll be similar to this game, and they'll be
No,
like.
it's incredibly hard for new players to get in.
Well, what I'm saying is like maybe they'll do some new updates and patching and change it how the systems work so they can get new players in like in the future. Hasn't even been a year yet, so you never know. Because like Rainbow Six Siege, this is like what 3 years later, and now it's
2 years.
A big game.
I think they just finished like.
I guess year 2.
Well, yeah, it came out December 1st, 2015, so it is like just past the 2-year mark.
But they didn't go get big until like at least a year after. So
they didn't do terribly. It didn't start out like as big as it is now, but they've been steadily increasing over time. Which I think is mostly due to just increasing the amount of content over time. I with the For Honor example, I don't know very much because I haven't played the actual game For Honor. I played the beta, but I think that game is. I feel like it's just a lot more niche than kind of this game is because it's like a lot of people have played shooters, so it's still.
Well, like For Honor exploded in popularity like in the beginning. However, their multiplayer coding, like the net coding, was garbage because it's player to player and no servers, and the balance was just bad. And they didn't do shit about it forever, and everyone was complaining. And then finally they're like, "All right, guys, we're gonna be balancing the characters like you asked." They balanced the wrong fucking characters, made some that were OP even more OP, and some that were garbage even more garbage, and everybody's just like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah, that probably just comes down to.
I mean, it's different studios doing the shit, but like, I feel like Ubisoft overall as a whole company should be on that shit.
I wouldn't give up yet because I think the common trend nowadays is that games usually keep getting updated and they try to fix them so they can make more money in the long term because the games as a service is like the new thing.
Unfortunately, I mean,
It's not all bad though.
yeah, I know. I really like it in this case. I think in this case they did a good job with it. They did a very good job with this one, but I think it can all I don't know. It's kind of just a thing. It's not particularly good or bad. It can be either. I think in this case it's very good. It's very well done. They did a very good job about balancing characters because there were some characters that were very overpowered. Like when Blackbeard originally came out, he was significantly more overpowered. There were some others. But right now it feels like everything is super balanced, just feels really good.
Except the annoying Dokubi.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, unbalanced. She's just annoying as shit, and she's new, so that's part of the reason she's annoying.
She's annoying, but I kind of like her.
Well,
I don't think she's particular. I don't think there are any characters that feel particularly overpowered.
Well, it's nice since they nerfed Blackbeard again because he was still annoying before. Now his shields aren't nearly as OP.
I mean, I think the only character they still need to nerf is Tachanka. I mean,
I wouldn't mind if they nerfed who's the cell phone bitch to make yourself.
That's Dokubi. That's the one I was talking about.
Yeah, I think she's a little too much. It takes way too long to turn your goddamn phone off. Like, why do I have to hit the goddamn screen? You know what's going on, character?
Yeah. Although I don't think the actual buzzing, it does help them know where you are, but at the same time you don't need to immediately turn it off. So it's.
But still, you take 5 fucking seconds to do it, and you look down on everything, and it just fucks with your view, and it makes you stand still for that, and just. Ugh.
Yep. Yeah.
If I could walk around and still be looking up and not just sitting there tapping the screen of my phone instead of hitting the button.
But it's got a little cartoon thing, cat monster thing on it. It's adorable. She's the hacker woman.
But yeah, I don't encounter that often enough that I'm pissed about her so much or anything.
Plus her weapons aren't particularly overpowered. She has a double shot shotgun and kind of a rifle.
I mean, if you can find shelter when it's going off and then turn it off, then it's not that big of a deal. It's just more.
I think her thing where she can take over the defender's cameras is significantly
significant.
A better ability, but it's also it's also a pretty risky thing because you have to take out a member of the enemy team. I think she's an all right character, but
she's just annoying.
what were we talking about before this?
Balance.
Oh yeah, balance.
Yes.
And continuing to support games and stuff, and I feel like this game has done a very good job about it, and I look forward to what they do with year 3.
Better than Destiny 2.
Yeah, this game actually has a really fun gameplay loop where Destiny is hey, go grind more, you bitch. And
maybe we should do another discussion on Destiny 2 because I think everyone's opinions would be very different now that the next expansion's out. I think.
I installed the game.
You uninstalled the game?
Yeah.
I would love to do kind of a after the next or kind of when they're maybe after the next expansion. I'd love to do one after Destiny 2 is done and just kind of see where we're at that point
compared to the first one.
Yeah. I'm not even sure I'm going to edit those videos because the last one was 2 hours. Over 2 hours long, and it's just it's so much. But
It will definitely be interesting in the future to have another discussion on Destiny and see what people's opinions are, because I already know that just from the new expansion, I became way saltier, but also kind of happier in some ways about Destiny 2. But Destiny 2 is its own beast.
Yep. It is something.
Something for sure.
Yeah, we definitely should. But
Anything
yeah,
else about 6?
I don't really have any more
I'm
to
good.
say about this game. There's not really.
Definitely recommend it though.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's worth it. It's good.
If you like shooters, tactical shooters, I would definitely recommend this game. There's not really any music. The art style is just. It's really good. It's really effective. It looks realistic enough.
Just a realistic art
Yeah.
style. So
Is there any music in this? I don't think there is.
There's like menu music, but that's about it.
Yeah. Sound design
Yeah,
is
sound design's
fantastic. 10 out of 10. Well, probably not 10 out of 10, but it's really good. Yeah, I think that's about where we're gonna end it. I guess we kind of just gave our final thoughts. So, bye.